requires a lot of trial and error. There is no formula which will tell you that this is the way to go and this is how it is. You will change the products, you will change the positioning, you will change adding, subtracting features and so on. So, talk about the startup. In the startup, because these are all characteristics of a typical startup, because a startup is where you have formed the company, you have decided the type of ownership between the founders, you have decided on the type of way you are going to position the product, and then you start putting the product in the market when it starts revenues. And then you say, how am I going to grow the product? Am I going to add people, more number of products and so on. And then you come to the stage where possibly at that point of time, your startup is in a stage where it is steady in terms of revenue, steady in terms of product performance, and might be ready for acquisition. That means that is the time when somebody else, a competitor, might or a big player might decide to buy you out. And that is the time when you really get the valuation of the fruits of labor or whatever you have to do in a startup. So this is what I wanted to cover in what a startup is. So think about how many hours you are willing to devote, how passionate you are about the job, how the risk taking ability you have, what are the family support you have in doing a startup of your own, or should you work in a startup for some time and then do your own startup. So I think I have broadly covered the gamut, and it's a very wide area, and I have done, in fact, let me cover what I did after I passed out. I passed out in engineering, mechanical, and I joined an automotive company, Hindustan Motors. We had a campus. This one, I went into pure development. In those days, Contessa was getting relaunched with the Isuzu engine. I did that work for about 3 years, and we were the first batch of GATE. So I also had an admission from IIT as well as Government of India had a postgraduate MBA program for industrial engineering. So I had a choice of either of them. So I consulted one of our professors here at that time, the HOD of production engineering, and he told me that it's better that you go and try to do your masters from productivity council, because there you get hands-on experience on different types of assignments which you do, which are live, not theoretical projects. So that was the time. For 6 years I did projects across industries, right from farm, informal sector, telecom, technology, and you name it, under the sun. All types of, and that was the time I learned a little bit of computers and all that. And those days we used to book computer time in the night, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, learn computer programming, sleep in the lab itself, and morning get up and go and come out. So then I moved into pure consulting for 10 years, set up different offices of the company in India and overseas. And then in 2002, January 1st, I thought I will become an entrepreneur. It's a very twist, which is very important for you all to understand. See, many of you will work in a company, you will have a role as a profit center. See, what happens is when you join a company, initially you are a technical person, then you become a manager, then once after a manager you become the head of the department, and possibly you start heading a business unit. And the normal nomenclature that they give you is that you become a profit center, which means you are responsible for the bottom line, the profit and loss for the division or the business that you are handling. See, profit center head is very different from being an entrepreneur on your own. So when I started off, I thought, see, I have been anyhow generating and running a business for somebody else. So why not I become an entrepreneur, because I can generate the same thing. Running your own business is a totally. So I learned the ropes of entrepreneurship, startups, the hard way. So set up a telecom company, set up a healthcare company, a biotechnology company. Some of them burnt a lot of cash, exited out wrongly. Some of them I sold it out, had a good exit, so it was a good telecom product company. Then it was a storage company, physical storage, particular data storage and all that. Now currently I have again a small startup which focuses on a product which caters to the employment market. It actually runs, it's actually a social product. It's a community product helping both the employers and the job seekers, helps them establish their credibility, and all the documents that one generates during their career, right from your college, school, passing out certificates, mark sheets. During your career, any number of times these documents are attested, have to be attested, have to be verified by the original people. So all these things are made online, digitally encrypted and stored. So that's the product that we have. And there are some schemes that we have to have telling them. And I also told some of them yesterday that as a alumni this, maybe for a year or so, some of these products will be available at free of cost to people who are using the product from BIT. Otherwise it's a B2C, B2B paid product. So the sites are IX.in. So you will see some people with t-shirts and they have schemes. So I think I wanted to cover my journey, the difference between startup, entrepreneurship. I think I have been able to cover it in a very broad sense. I will now leave the house open to allow you to ask me any question related or unrelated, because I have charted quite a lot of things. So you can feel free to ask me anything related to the talk today or anything related to philosophy, life, psychology, anything.
So you told us to refrain from starting off with family members and very close friends. So how do we know that we have perched upon the right people to start up with?
See, why I said refrain from family and friends is because the expectations of them will be different, and for you also to cut the umbilical cord, it becomes very difficult because you cannot be very objective. That is one. Now the next is, how do you select the right set of partners, and that is where caution plays. See, normally what happens is, at the first starting up itself, let's say at the end of the day, the startup founder is only one. It is not plural. It is never started by two people. Because at the end of the day, every team has got one captain. The other could be a vice captain. The vice captain also must respect that there is a captain above and that he must be willing to exceed. If there are two power, you take any social structure. If there are two power centers, whether it be family or an organization, it is going to run into chaos. The minute there are two power centers, it has to be only one. So if you feel that you are the founder, you have to get a set of people who are. See, one is you must develop that maturity to understand what is professional criticism. Because he might tell you, no, what you are talking is just not possible. You must try to not take it personally as an ego. You must try to understand whether there is sense. Run the idea loudly with somebody else, because you might feel that he is purposely telling you that it will not work to demotivate. You might want it to run it through somebody else, and then tell him, no, I checked the 3 more other people, they all feel. Why don't we? So see, the ability of the leader singular, ability of the leader to carry the team along, because the number 2 guy, he always feels that he missed that slot as being the, and if things don't go very well, he will be the first to object and he will be the first to leave. So failures do happen. You must be mentally be prepared that your right hand man one day just says, enough with you, I am not going to work. This will not happen if you have handled the relationship very professionally. Then what happens is, see, every individual at some point of time, see, he might fight with you, he might maybe pick up a fight, he might walk away. But a couple of years down the line, he will realize that you meant nothing personal or bad. He might still pick up the phone and say, hey, how are things going here, for our business. He might try to bridge the gap. Okay, so that is where the leader should not say, oh, that day you ditched me and went, so I'm not going to pick up the phone. You say, yeah, things are good for you, how are things going? And always, please remember in life, good deed when you do, invariably people have a mentality, I would say, or all of us are human, it happens. If somebody ditches you, does something, you try to settle the score with a revenge. You say, okay, you are gone, so I will not give a good, try to do good, always. Comes back, and it comes back in multiples. See, I today have helped thousands of startups, either as mentor or free advice. There are a lot of people who might say, we value time, we quantify these ideas, correct the people. There are times when people will say, yeah, you had done, they will not even refer to an old instance, but then they will not hesitate to pick up a call or pick up a phone and make an introduction, because you have applied. So everything is not, what I'm trying to again tell you is, you must develop the maturity. You must be mentally prepared to have the right 1 and 2 guys walking away from you. And 3 is, you will find that all these things at the end of the day equalizes. So good deeds, people do help out.
So if someone is working for a company and while working he wants to create his own company, then what are the problems he will face?
See, that's what I said, part-time no. See, because see, it is the least risk option. See, what happens is you have a great idea. You think, anyhow, I have a 9 to 5 job, I am working in a company and I am trying to set up a startup. See, what is it you want? If you're really passionate about and you are convinced internally, when I say very passionate and internally convinced, you will jump the job. Because if you are not jumping the job, that means your conviction about the product is not 100%. You still have a doubt that maybe it will not succeed. I tell you why that is important, that you check the job and do full time is, then you have no other option to go back. You don't have plan B to go back. So there, even an impossible situation, you will try to make it successful. Like you come with a product. Let's take a small example. You think of an idea, you start up, you leave a cushy job, you start the job. You start the company, you realize that the product was a disaster. What happens now? You cannot go back to the company. One possibility is you might go back as an employee. The second thing is you are determined to make a success out of what you have tasted, because you taste a lot of freedom as an entrepreneur. So then what you do, there are mistakes that you made. What is the mistake you would have made? When you thought about this product that it will succeed, first mistake you would have made is you would have estimated the market wrong. You would have thought that it's a brilliant product like Google. Everyone will jump and take it. When you come and nobody even looks at your website. So then you realize, first thing is I did a wrong product. Next time what you do, you meet hundreds and thousands of people. Suppose I do this product, do you think it will work? People will, to make you happy, please again, one more thing in market research, people to make you happy, they will not tell you, no, this is what you're talking is all bullshit. So I think it should work if you can do a little bit here. Note that. Ask next. Everybody when you ask, if many of them are really willing to hung up on, really adopt with the idea that what you are going to do is very great, then you say, okay, now that you are convinced that you do, can you buy the product in advance and give me an advance payment? I will do the product with you. Then you know if the product is really good, he will put the money. He will say, yes, this is the product I am pre-booking. You are sure.